Hello everybody. My name is Primož Suša. I hear myself a bit strange, so I fly since 1996 and I started competing in 1997, so about 20 years. I did 8 world records in cross country. I was 5 times national champion of Slovenia. It took a bit a while for me to start winning this, but then it went better. The last time I win was in 2017. I won a lot of tasks on all levels of competitions, and what I'm kind of proud about is that crossing of Alps and bivouac flying with a friend over Balkan mountains. And hike and fly lately makes me really grateful and kind of a beginner again. So this is what I like to do now. What this whole presentation will be about, I want to start how I view and why we fly comps. This is my view, so I don't think, probably not, or we all agree, but doesn't matter. So, in my view, what is the main point of the comps? What problems I see often, and maybe simple solutions, because I often see that we are really complicating with things. So, yeah. Finally, I would like to say that we should, in general, maybe we don't have solutions good, but we should think that we want to have simple solutions. Simple is always better. Okay, this is mostly in programming, but simple is always better. I hope we will have also in paragliding. So, what I saw lately. Okay, why we fly comps? So, one goal could be to learn to fly good. I mean, compared to cross-country flying, I think comps gives you view of what other pilots are doing, so you can really progress fast. You can see what is possible. Flying with good pilots stretches your stretches you how you fly, so you automatically start to fly better. This is, I think, the best way to train or to progress. So we can also fly comps for training, self-improvement. Let's say for me this year, Gemona was this kind of competition when I think I really gained a lot of training. I was not flying much during the winter, so Gemona was really perfect. I actually felt a bit scared first in these huge goggles. I had a bit of problems on the flats, but then later on I felt really more comfortable, or more, more confident when I went to the next competition. Organized flying, so this could be one thing. You have everything set up, so you don't need to think about how you will get home, like on cross country, where often this can be an issue when you're flying somewhere and you're thinking, how will I get out of here and how I will get home. Good reason could be discover new places. Flying with friends, travel with a purpose. I don't travel much, but when I travel, I really want to know what I will be doing there. So this could be one reason. Flying with friends is, in comps you are flying a lot of comps probably. So in comps you meet a lot of friends, and it's always good to see them. Maybe they're from really far away, and otherwise you will not see them. And flying with friends is always the best for me. Maybe you're most probably, I mean, you like to compete, you like to compare with others. This is what I like also. And flying to win. So flying to win, finally I think, if you're progressing and if you really want to get there, at one point you need to want to win. I mean, otherwise you cannot win if you don't want to win. If you don't believe that you can win, then you just cannot. But at the end, I think flying for pleasure and flying for fun, I think is the most important, and this is why we are doing it, because we are enjoying it to do this. All of these are not mutually exclusive, and at one point, most probably we are doing all of these things at one moment. So what I would like to say that finally we are doing this for pleasure, and also we want to have rules that we will enjoy. I mean, that we will not have, that we will have fun, that we will not really be doing something that we don't like, and that we have too much stress with. So one of the issues that I saw that I didn't like now on Europeans was the safety levels, and we all know where they are. Let's say level 1, everything is fine. Level 2, maybe it's hard, but it's doable. Level 3, it's too much, or it will be too much in, let's say, in some time. And what I saw was that we didn't have a safety committee answering, or that we have organization just acknowledging that there is a problem because pilot said level 3, more than 1. And so they knew that something is going wrong, but they didn't take any action. I really didn't like this, that they didn't take any action. One thing is that when there is level 3, most probably the person that is in the situation doesn't have even time to say level 3. So when few pilots say level 3, normally when I was thinking at home about this, I think that it's not for nothing. Normally people don't say level 3 if it's not level 3. And the other guys that are quiet maybe also experience the same thing. So what I would like here, especially when there is no safety committee answering or even responding on the radio, I think there should be a rule or something, some procedure of action that organizations should take. And I would like to see action. So here I think that something is missing maybe. That's why I want to bring this up. One thing that you said on Europeans is if there is no safety committee answering or even in contact with the organization should have clear option to just quit, because I think that pilots are not saying this for nothing. Of course, there is a problem with this, that the system is not perfect, and that every day you can have a level 3 in some situation. We cannot solve this. This is obvious. But when there is like 5 pilots saying level 3 in same area, it's much safer to go land safely if there is stopped task or cancelled task. With airspace, I think we solved this issue here in Slovenia a long time ago, and I think it's quite a good solution. I saw again now in Europeans that we have the same old stuff, like if you will breach the airspace you will get 0, and so on. Old problems were that we were using GPS altitude, so it was not accurate as a first thing. And the problem is that we have, in paragliding, with paragliders, we cannot fly like sailplanes. With sailplanes, it's super easy. You put the brakes out and ciao, and you are avoiding the airspace, no problem. The ceiling of the airspace I'm talking about. But in paragliding, you are quite helpless. So when you are in a lot of rising air, you cannot do much at the time, especially if you are flying in a gutter. You cannot do a spiral, you cannot do anything. You are just being shoot in the air, and you will breach the airspace. So what is the solution we have in Slovenia that I think it works well, is that we put the airspace lower than the actual airspace. So organization should have its own airspace, that is lower than the actual airspace. So when you will breach this one, you will actually not breach the actual airspace. And then it's super easy. You can do like with the cloud flying. So when you have the possibility, you go down. This rule can be improved, however, but in general, you just go down and you continue flying. You breach it, you breach the unofficial airspace, nothing happened, you went down and you continue flying, and you don't have to have a zero. So why would you have a zero if you can just simply solve this like this? What I also notice with task is that the quality of task is really varying between different competitions. And here I would like to say a bit my philosophy of tasks and what was the previous maybe maybe start with what's, in my opinion, difference between cross-country and competition flying. So, for me, cross-country is more like record-breaking, new routes exploring adventure. When competition is more like technical flying and you are not doing anything new. Most of the time you're not doing anything new. You're just trying to be as fast as possible in goal. And I would compare this, let's say, with climbing. So, cross-country for me is more like alpinism. So you're doing something new, you're climbing something new, blah, 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 whatever. I'm not a climber. And while competition for me is more like a competition with climbing on an artificial wall. So it's more technical, it's not necessarily something new, I want to go from this to progress from this my way of thinking. So it used to be that the task setting wanted to be the best task, what people thought is really good task. So it's super long, it takes 6 hours, maybe only few pilots get in goal. And I think that we went further from that now the main point is maybe not this. I mean, the main point is that there is maybe everyone in goal. And it's, I think, more race philosophy, so not cross-country. We're not doing cross-country, we're racing. So we don't need super far distance, we don't need record tasks, we don't need 300-kilometer tasks. We can do, it's fine to do 100. And the point is just who is the fastest in goal. What I like with this is that then it's actually more technical, so that we have a lot of transitions. But what I believe is that most of the pilots should reach the goal, and how we normally do it in Slovenia, I don't know for this competition, but when I'm in task committee, that in the beginning we do something simple, so majority of pilots can do it. Then we do some more difficult stuff where you can bomb out and so on, or you get stuck. And in the end, we want to do it simple again. So just go to goal. Everyone is happy. You are happy, organization is happy, they don't need to pick you up, and so on. A lot of beer to drink. So, what do you think is the main point of cross-country competition task? What do you think is the main point of cross-country competition task?
Safety.
Okay, safety can be one, but I didn't have that in mind. Sorry. For me, what's the main point of cross-country competition task is who will be the first in goal. So, in my opinion, we come to competition to race. We want to see who is first in goal, we want to have good days, we want to race to goal. Can be other type of, but who is first in goal? Who made the route the fastest? So, we are not here to compare glides. We are not here to bomb out. We are not here to compare glides. We are not here to see who got the most leading points. We are not. We want to race. We want to see who is the first in goal. And I think people do want to understand what is going on, what's going on in our competitions. I think that there is interest, just we are not maybe presenting it good enough. So from here we can only go to task setting. What task setters are thinking about and should be thinking about. So one could be the level of pilots on some competition. This can decide also how you make the task. The other one, of course, is whether the most important. So if conditions are good enough to make the task. Terrain safety, this is, let's say, I still remember and I will never forget the competition in World Cup competition in Castejón-de-Sos, where we were flying all the time lease sites, and finally also, I mean every day one was in the hospital, and finally one guy died. There we were flying on a route through lease sites straight into the Lee, and we needed to cross this fucking mountain. Retrieve difficulty. One thing that one friend from Austria said a week ago was that maybe a task committee guy should be first in retrieve to work in the retrieve, because if you don't think about it, maybe you send pilots somewhere that you will have difficulty with this. Communication difficulty in certain areas. Time of day and how if you solve something and something goes wrong. And sportive aspects. This is what I'm interested in the most. So, one thing is that the weather is good enough for flying. The other thing is that the weather is good enough to have a good competition. And good competition, I think, like I said before, that we race, not that we measure glides, that we bomb out everybody. So, what I would also like to say is that for me, if a competition has only one valid task, it's fine. I mean, the other who run marathon, they also have just one comp. Doesn't matter. I mean, there will always be another competition, so it doesn't matter if we have only one task. And even further, I would say that there is better one competition with one good task than competition with one good task and three shitty tasks, three lucky tasks. So, in my opinion, stop tasks or bomb out tasks are really not worth it, because it's just raising the lucky level, how to say, it's raising the luck factor, and maybe pilots are not really enjoying it, so why not just go free flying if you really want, but we will make a good competition tomorrow. The same, I think, for stop task. Stop task currently with the rules that we have is completely lucky game. Because on every stop task we rewind the time, and what happens later is that nobody knows what will happen again, like usual, and you can even be in really bad position because 10 minutes ago you were not good, and but actually you were good when they stopped the task. So, one thing maybe for the task committee, maybe we should need a manual for tasks. One thing I would say that don't put task in lee sides. If you have a doubt what the cylinder, if it's in a lee side or something, put the bigger cylinder by default, because it doesn't matter if the task is 500 meters shorter. It really doesn't matter. One thing to think about would be also maybe, do we have landings at the crucial points? Don't set lines with only one option, straight to the lee, like I said. Or maybe also, right now I don't think we all enjoy just ridge flying. So we had really one stressful task in Gemona when we were flying 50K. I don't know how many Ks, but approximately 30, 50, something like this. Full speed bar on the ridge. And I must say, I was sweating and hardly waiting that we reached the other side. On the other side, I was completely wet. Because we were really pushing full speed all the time. So I think, and nothing changes actually. It doesn't make any difference. We were just pushing. There was no decision, nothing. You just need to reach from A to B, full speed, just stress and danger. So I don't think it makes any sense. What does it mean that everyone bombed out? In my opinion, either the task was bad, so the task committee did a bad job, they made a mistake, which happened this year in Bavu, Bavarian Open. Actually, the first day we start, we fly, the start cylinder opens, we make one glide and we bomb out like 90% or 80%. For me, this is just a task committee failure. The other thing that could happen is that the weather is bad. Why I would say task committee failure? Like I said before, I forgot. Anyway. So either the task was bad or the weather was bad. And I don't find this kind of task a measure of quality, either for competition or for a pilot. Because often happens, let's say, when you have everyone bombing out, that often happens that there's one guy that maybe didn't reach goal any day before, now actually went the furthest. So it's just quantity of tasks for a competition, not quality. And yeah, in general, I don't see anything good with this. So maybe you don't agree, but I think this kind of tasks are not necessary for a good comp. Like I said before, we didn't came to measure lucky glides, but we came to race. I think maybe this is extreme, but I think this should not be scored. What does it mean that the task was stopped? I already said before. Again, just lucky game. Nobody knows what will be his position. Nobody knows how this will influence his overall result. Maybe it's better you bomb out, maybe not. We don't know. I don't find it a measure of quality either for a competition or for a pilot. I think it should just be dropped out. In the current way, like we have now with the rewind, I think it's lottery. I think it should not score. So why we are flying bad weather? Often I think pilots are complaining when we stop the task or cancel the task. Why you stop the task? I mean, you can still fly if you want. I mean, one good thing when I saw in Aptenau, in Austria, on European Championship, when some pilots were flying on a local site, and we actually had a stop task, a cancelled task, we didn't fly competition. And then, of course, pilots were complaining why we didn't have a competition. There was some few pilots flying, and the meet director was actually also flying. He said, "Yes, I was flying. We were flying, but it was not taskable. It was flyable, but not taskable. There's two different things. And if you want to fly, just go fly. I mean, it doesn't mean that you cannot go fly. The task is cancelled." Again, I think this kind of task in bad weather, we just mean we have bad task, bad competition, and it's not worth it. We came to race, right? This one is maybe a bit not so... not so important, but I find that a bit funny anyway. We have, let's say in Slovenia, when you have like this, so we have an end of speed section 2 kilometers away, you will not see that we fly to 100 meters altitude and then climb again and reach the goal. But it often happens let's say in Brazil, it can happen in Portugal, it can happen in flatlands where you have actually good conditions everywhere. And you can actually go, when we have end of speed section 3 kilometers away, or in Gemona, for example. When you have end of speed section 3 kilometers away, I mean, we are 3 kilometers away from a safe landing. We are 3 kilometers away in a city, and we are 100 meters high. And we don't have a thermal, and we go straight even more into the city to climb. I don't find this safe. I mean, this rule was supposed to be to make competition safe, and we are actually going straight into a city with no landings to climb to find another thermal to reach the goal. Where is the safe landing? 3 kilometers away. So it's a bit strange rule, I think. But here it works. In the Alps it works because in the valley you don't have another thermal. you will need to calculate a bit before. With scoring, when I land in Portugal with Adrian Hagen, he said, we are in crisis of paragliding competitions. So what are the problems? I mean, what I see as a problem. So at first, I think that nobody really understands the scoring and what will happen. What will be the result? I think the scoring should be simple for everyone to understand. Like my grandmother and me should at any moment understand what's going on, I think.
Like football.
For example. Another thing that I really don't like is that bomb-out tasks are actually giving more differences in points. They're more important than good tasks, but we are here to race. We are not here to bomb out and to measure glides. But actually the bomb out task, when you fly a bit further than somebody else, you need to fly over the cable, you need to fly over that tree, you need to crash into that valley somewhere, you will get 100 points more. This you cannot do almost on a good race. I don't find this cool. And I think with the current system, the goggle became unbeatable. I will come more after to this, but the goggle is the thing. You need to fly with the goggle, otherwise you will not beat it. The scoring system should not really be fair, and this is what we were talking with Dylan like for a long time, that we don't need fair scoring system. What does that mean? At first, no solution will ever be fair. There's always something wrong. I mean, we cannot fix all the problems. So, what will be the result? Like we have now, we have a bloat of a scoring system that nobody gets it. We have every task scoring completely different, with different how many points it gets, how much pilots, blah blah blah, whatever. And so we need over all of this, we need also because it's pears and apples. It's not the same. All the tasks are different. We need a FTV. So who gets FTV here? 1, 2. Okay? But do you know what is better to... Sometimes I have a feeling it's better to bomb out. Okay? So what happens is that when you reach the goal, nobody understands what will be the result. Who? Where were you? What were your leading points? In the real world, I think again, simple solutions normally always wins. I hope also here. There is actually more, but one interesting example. When in Portugal, Jost Napret win, won. And he was, I don't know, the first day he won, he was 20 in goal. He was 20 on the scoring. The next day he won. And I really congratulate him because he was flying really good. He was 56 on the scoring. This, I think, is not acceptable. I think this is totally fail of scoring. And the joke was, the better I fly, the worse I am on the results. And it was like this. So, how the leading points came to be. It first was like a good idea, okay, let's give to the leaders some leading points. Because they go in front, they fight, blah, 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 and the rest are following, maybe. The problem is, how is the easiest to do this, is that you give the leading points basically to everyone. And because you give them to everyone, we need to give more leading points and blah, blah, blah. And now we give double leading points. And what happens is that I think we reach like the peak of leading points, like the peak oil. And I find it really cool that we did it, because now we can start to understand more the problems of the leading points. That's also always an option. But what do you think? Who gets the most leading points on a strong competition? Who gets the most leading points? The leaders, the guys in front, the first group, who? Second goggle or first goggle, because they're always there. So the leaders in front are mixing, they're changing, they're not there, but the main goggle is getting all the leading points. As first of the problem of leading points, I think it's not understandable. You don't know when you're getting them, kind of in the beginning, but actually it's not true. You're getting it until the middle somewhere. Where do I need to be? So it means, normally, when is good position to make something different? I think the beginning of a task is good position to do something completely different than the rest. So, but because if you will lose the leading points in the beginning, it means you fuck up the race exactly in the beginning, which is, it means that it supports goggle flying. The other thing is, I think they're creating extra stress for the pilot. This idea I came when I was flying a triangle in Austria. And I was flying with a friend. We are always flying like we are competing. But for me, it was not a problem to try something. I went there, I tried. If it's not working, okay, I climb, I catch him again. I don't care. But on the competition, you are stressed. So one thing that also are causing is stress, because you're losing them if you make something else. And then what it means, if you're not daring to try something else, it means, again, it's supporting goggle flying. So leading points are supporting goggle flying. Another thing is that not just the leaders are getting them, everyone is getting them. There was good example of this now in Bulgaria. So at the beginning of the task, Helmut Einholzer went for a one line with other pilots, and some other goggle went through on the other side of the valley on another line. The other line was better, they were on the cloud street, everything was fine, the task was super fast. Let's say he was following the whole day, but he managed to catch, and he was actually second in goal. What happened? On the scoring, he was 30 in goal. I think also this is not working good. I don't think this is good. Another example would be, you have two groups. One group is going one direction, the other one is going the other direction, but actually only one group will be getting leading points. Again, because then maybe you will not dare to do this, you go with the main group, blah, blah, blah. And again, they're supporting goggle flying. And gaggles, and especially the main gaggle, are becoming unbeatable with this. Because you need to be with them, or you're fucked. Or you most probably will lose. I think, for the final thing, I think leading points should be eliminated from the scoring because all these issues, and especially if people are having problems with gaggle flying and that we have too much gaggle flying, one thing you can do first, I'm not saying the goggles will be disappearing because of this, but if one thing that you can do immediately is to cancel the leading points. Adio. So, in summary, what I would like to see: organization taking more action when pilots are reporting levels, airspace controlled more like we have, so like cloud flying, no more stop task, less bad task or no bad task, small differences in when we are bombing out if we need to, more understandable and simple scoring, no more leading points, more competitions with only time scoring, but I'm not saying this is perfect system. I think there should be some changes, but I think with this we are moving in the right direction. Thank you very much.